Hi, I'm Danny Hawkins. I'm the CTO, Chief Technology Officer of Quiqup Limited. We're an on-demand delivery company. We like to think of ourselves as the only company that can bring you a nice meal, a bottle of champagne, and the almost forgotten anniversary present within the hour. We were founded in 2014, January 2014, by 4 like-minded individuals that found themselves working together for a venture capital company called WPS Challenger. The thing that brought us together was the desire to build a business that gave back time to people. We found time is a valuable commodity, and people really want some of that back. We were also very much last-minute kind of guys, so the idea of having a solution that can bring you something within the hour was extremely appealing. In true startup fashion, we decided we needed a place to work, which became my front room. We emptied all my furniture out into storage and turned it into our first office. I have very fond memories of this coming back from my day job at the time to find all the co-founders and foreign advisors gathered in my bedroom with a flip chart. It's very amusing. So we decided that we wanted to start with a minimum viable product. And the reason we wanted to do this, we wanted to allow our consumers to drive where we went. We wanted to know what the market really wanted. This was the emergence of the on-demand economy at the time, so it seemed like the perfect thing to do. We built a very basic HTML5 web app. It was pretty awful, to be fair. It had a simple question: what do you want, and where do you want it? We had a seed list of 200 users, which we were fortunate enough to be able to leverage from they're quite influential people. And we decided the MVP would have an invite-only aspect to it. This was a little bit for the exclusivity side of things. Everybody likes to show off. But also because we wanted to control growth in case we happened to explode. Now, it was a really good decision because we did. When we started, we were getting requests every single day for invites, even with our very basic MVP. And this sort of drove into the next problem, which was the fleet. At this time, the co-founders were delivering. I got off because I was the developer. I got to sit in the warm while those guys went out and did all the deliveries. So this was the biggest problem we started to face, was how do we hire these guys? And we created an onboarding program to train them, and we started to build our fleet. One of the other things we did with the MVP was a queuing system for areas that we didn't operate in. This was instrumental in knowing where we could expand to next. It's driven us so far east and so far southwest because we could see these pockets in different postcode areas of where the demand was. The app also had a lot of tech behind it. It's a bespoke platform. We started it from the ground up. And this was primarily because we wanted it to cater for every need that we have, and it became kind of our IP. One of the things that you might not know is that scooter traffic. If you want to try and find out how long it takes a scooter to travel around London, it's very difficult. Google doesn't have this. Google has buses, cars, bikes, but no scooters. So we started taking the data we were gathering and putting it back through our system into our own routing engine so that we knew how long jobs were going to take. We also started to build a matching engine. And the idea behind this was not every job is the same. And we wanted to know which quickie was the best guy. We call them quickies, by the way, sorry, our couriers. We wanted to know which quickie was the right guy for the job. A typical example of this is if you are an organic food lover and you send someone to do an organic shop, you need to know the guy knows how to pick an avocado or to pick the right pomegranate. So this generate match algorithm took many different things into play, including distance, time. Is this guy good at this? Is this guy good at that? And we went on from there. It became apparent to us very quickly that vendors were suffering as much as customers with the last mile delivery problem. Vendors were contacting us all the time, asking us, hey, can we use your service? We really want to solve this problem. We send out 100 packages a day, and there's no way for us to do it conveniently or affordably right now. And this kind of made us realize that the problem that we were trying to solve of what do you want and when do you want it was far bigger. There was vendors wanting to solve this as well as consumers. So we started to kind of transition into an ecosystem. And the idea behind the ecosystem is that vendors and consumers can access the largest multi-vertical fleet in London from their own website, from the mobile app, from our public API, however they want to. We want to make it as simple as possible to onboard and use our services. We also created a brand, which you can see right here. And this brand, we feel, strongly reinforces our desire to disrupt the last mile delivery environment. So what started as a very simple proposition, what do you want and when you want it, has become an ecosystem that's highly accessible and that can allow consumers and vendors alike to access the largest vertical fleet, multi-vertical fleet of drivers in London at the click of a button or the ping of an API. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
No problem.
That was great. So I'm going to ask about competitors.
Yeah, of course, as everybody does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, Uber moving into the space, Amazon too. They're gigantic and aggressive.
Yeah.
How are you kind of feeling about that?
So one of the hardest problems that we faced at the beginning about hiring a fleet is also one of the most reassuring things. To get a quality fleet is actually a difficult challenge. For example, would you trust an Uber driver to go and pick an avocado for you? I don't think so. So we have that. Amazon, they aren't managing to really get into this space because of the cost. They're not geared up for this kind of industry. So the cost for them to actually fulfill is not worth it for them. It's becoming a very difficult challenge for them. And regarding other smaller competition, we strongly believe that the customer service and quality of service is something that we excel in. And it's proven so far because up until 2 months ago, we didn't spend a penny on marketing. Everything was word of mouth.
And in terms of your quickies,
yes.
What is their relationship to you in terms of their employment status?
They're contractors, so they're contractors. And we bring them in to onboard them. We have a very sort of 2-day program where they get onboarded and then they contract for us. So we put the shifts out at the moment, they pick the shifts up, but we want to transition to a fully on-demand marketplace.
Okay.
But as when Uber penetrates a new market, they'll first hire people to do it and then transition to a marketplace.
Okay. And are you paying them a minimum wage, a living wage?
Yeah, they get good money, to be fair. Like bikes start £7 an hour, scooters are 8, and cars I think are 10, or it could be scooters are 8 and 9 and 10. But they also get tips on top of that, and we're actually going to be changing the pricing model so they can earn more by picking up more jobs as well. So they're actually very happy and not at all comfortable with the money not at all uncomfortable with the money they earn.
Okay, and you think of them as kind of they'll always be professional quickies, if you see what I mean, rather than, you know, it's me, I'm on my way to work, I'm just fit in a quick.
I mean,
because that's one vision that's painted of the on-demand economy.
We had a really good idea about using Quiqup joggers. So if you imagine you're in Hyde Park in the summer and you've got your spot and you want some beer and you can't move, then you order from Quiqup and the scooter guy will bring it to the joggers at the edge of the park and then the joggers will bring it into you. So that's a really kind of thing you can show off, like, hey, let's get some beers, I don't have to move.
Okay.
So yeah, we're quite excited about that, by the way.
Yeah, no, sounds interesting. Right, questions?
So how do you see this scaling in a way that is competitive to the likes of an Amazon or Uber? So is this designed to stay small?
No, not at all, not at all. We are obviously the generate match decision-making engine between two people is the tech that powers the business. So it will empower a human to manage 10,000 jobs instead of 1,000. And the scaling comes from partnerships because there's a revenue share that we have in place. So as we establish partnerships, we introduce competition into the market for these partners. For example, if there's 2 sushi places and one of the guys says, I'm going to take a 25% rev share and the cost of the consumer comes down, then the other guy has to compete in order to be in the same space. So it's kind of letting the market compete against each other to bring it down.
I want to go into your competitors and your investors. So I'm just reading the TechCrunch article about you. Delivery Hero is an investor in you guys.
Delivery Hero and also Global Founders Capital, which are sort of part of Rocket Internet, Oliver Samwer.
Okay, okay. So are they giving you all their expertise and guidance that you need to scale and grow? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Are you worried about Gin or Postmates or any of those guys right now?
Postmates not so much because they've still got a lot of work to do in the US, at which time we're going to be able to capture the market here. And for Gin, I mean, we had a lot of people complain about Gin. So they don't really deliver the quality that we deliver, and we believe that's a very, very key linchpin to solving the problem. Also, we did a little challenge at Sunday at 8 o'clock. We decided to see who was still delivering, and Gin weren't, and Delivery weren't, and nobody was, but we were. And we had our jobs queued in a really nice way. So,
okay, well, that's because you're small right now, right? Just imagine.
We're actually
scale.
So in competition with gin, we actually do more volume than them.
You do, okay.
Yeah.
And then last question, tell me a bit about the founding team. I know you're all ex-VCs.
Sure, yeah.
I want to know more about you guys. Who are you and why are you going to succeed in this space?
Okay, so Basil Kusa is the CEO. He is his finance background. He was in the portfolio team for the venture capital. He has a very successful business with his family in Beirut. They own like 80% of retail over there for breads and pastries. It's kind of a completely different business, but the logistics side of it is very much in his blood. And Tim and Federico, we met at the VC as well. Those guys are both very much into research and development and innovation. So they've been responsible for some of the more innovative ideas we've got. And myself, I've been in tech since I was like 18. My last engagement was Ministry of Justice. And
so
yeah.
Very last question, if that's all right.
Sure.
To win, you've got to execute on this and quickly.
Pardon?
To win, obviously, this game in London.
Yes.
You've got to execute on this and quickly. So tell me a bit about what you're doing to really be first.
So the key is that we've closed Series A and we're heading up to the next funding round. Our whole aim is growth. And the way we're establishing this, we have a lot of people wanting to use us for B2B right now, queued up. And these guys want to do 100, 200 orders a day. So we want to get them on board, grow up to the next funding round, take that funding round, and then go global. And we already have several targets lined up. We have an accelerator in somewhere that I'm not going to say, ready to spin us up in another country. So.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.